Good morning, afternoon, everyone, depending on where you're calling from, and welcome to Pitch Me, our monthly virtual pitch event. I'm Carol, your host for today, where innovation meets opportunity. We have an exciting lineup of startups ready to showcase their cutting-edge solutions, and a panel of esteemed judges who are here to provide their valuable insights. Today, while we may see some industry-specific presentations, such as MedTech, please be reminded that our main focus today is not on the scientific details. Instead, our judges are here to evaluate your storytelling flow, your slide structure, presentation tone, and overall delivery. So this broader perspective is key in today's challenging fundraising climate, where you are more likely to engage with investors with a wide range of interests. Each founder will have 5 minutes to pitch, with a 1-minute warning before time is up. Please be ready to share your screen when your turn comes. Following each presentation, our judges will offer about 5 minutes of interactive feedback. We aim to provide a stimulating yet supportive environment for our entrepreneurs to refine their pitches and boost their future fundraising potential. Let's kick things off with a round of brief self-introduction from our judges. Ayush, could you start us off, followed by Douglas and Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me here. My name is Ayush. I'm the founder of Build. Build is a venture studio, accelerator, incubator, and development agency. So we do a little bit of all of those things, but we focus on helping non-technical domain expert founders build and launch tech products. So we actually interact a lot with founders who are domain experts who've been in their industry for a couple of years and come to us to launch, build a product and go to market. So we hear a lot of pitches. And besides Build, besides my work at Build, I'm also an angel investor. So I hear and evaluate several dozen pitches, every month. That's it about me.
Thank you, Ayush. And adding on top of that, actually, Ayush and me, we belong to the same circle of Angel Investor Association called Hustle Funds Angel Squad. So that's how we encounter each other, actually. Okay, next, we invite Douglas to give a self-introduction about him.
Thanks, Carol. Nice to meet everybody. Hi, I'm Doug. I'm based here in Singapore. I grew up in Australia. I've been in Singapore 24 years now. My corporate background is in telco, but I got into startup world about 12 years ago. I've had 4 startups myself, 2 exits, 1 crash and burn. But in the last 4 years or so, since the beginning of 2020, I've worked for accelerators in India and Canada, Australia, Singapore, coached about 300 founders from about 40 countries, thanks to COVID and benefits of Zoom. I'm currently the entrepreneur in residence at the Singapore Management University. We run a couple of cohorts a year. I also mentor at the American University of Beirut in Lebanon, and also the deep tech government department here, A-Star, here in Singapore. I also am a partner of Founders Bridge. It's a company that helps later stage startups, those raisings anywhere from $2 to $10 million, sort of post-family round, Series A, on scaling to the next level, which could be expanding internationally, acquiring funds for acquisition or product growth. And I do that with 2 other partners. But here I am here in Singapore and delighted to be on this panel.
Wonderful. Thanks, Doug. Over to you, Nick.
Hey guys, I'm Nikolai. You may call me Nick. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me here. I was born in USSR, but I've been to more than 70 countries and used to live in several ones. Now I'm based in Serbia. I'm a founder of a startup called Infusion. It's mostly focused on video games market and some AI tech around it. But also I do run I would call it tiny private equity fund with several shareholders on board. We mostly focused on early stage startups in Europe. So it means that I have both experience on the sell side and buy side in terms of pitching. And so my professional career was in the US markets. I used to work for 12 years as a co-portfolio manager and developing some fintechs for Bloomberg and etc. So it means that I also have experience in roadshow for the IPO. So I'll probably try to do my best here to help you guys with mostly how you pitch than what you pitch, because probably I'm not really familiar with medtech, etc. And I want to say in advance that I'm more like brutally honest type of person, but nothing personal here. I'll just try to do my best to help you guys. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Nick. Wonderful. Welcome all our very experienced judges. Now it's time for the startups to shine. Okay, cool. First, please welcome Rent Better. This innovative African rental platform is enhancing the property leasing process by providing verified listing and secure transactions to reduce inefficiencies and fraud. Let's dive into their story. Rent Better, the stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Tuheyo, and I'm the team lead at Rent Better. So at Rent Better, we noticed there's a very big, significant burden when it comes to paying rent. And this is highly on the tenant side, but landlords also face it rough because it ends up leading to a lot of defaults. It ends up leading to a lot of people leaving houses, and the churn rate is really so high. So we strive to make renting affordable and enjoyable, rewarding at the same time. What we saw as the problem in our country, Uganda, and even most African countries, there's a predominantly large informal sector whereby people earn money in irregular installments. They earn money daily mostly, and you find that landlords require people to pay rent in one large lump sum. This can be monthly, this can be quarterly, or even annually for some countries. But the population, the general number of people, can't afford that because that's not how they earn their incomes. And even those who are in the formal sector, actually, you find that the incomes, the monthly money is not big enough. So people end up doing deals, gigs, and side businesses to survive. So asking them to pay rent in one big lump sum is what has led a lot of rent defaults, has led a lot of high vacancy rates, whereby people now are finding it hard to see investing in property as viable because you find it's very hard to collect rent at at the pace that you expect as a landlord, which of course has led to a lot of housing deficit, housing crisis, a lot of slums coming up, a lot of informal settlements coming up, and a lot of failed businesses because people can't maintain paying rent on time. So our goal is to make sure that any landlord or tenant using Rent Better will never miss a rent payment ever again. How we do that is we've developed a rent payment platform, a mobile application that allows people to pay rent in small, manageable micro installments. And as people are paying rent, we are screening and scoring them. And in case a person fails to pay rent on time, they can use our system to request for a rent top-up or rent financing. And this leads us to guarantee rent collections for the landlords. And at the same time, making sure that everyone is financially included, because if someone is able to pay their rent, they can run their businesses very well. They can take care of their families very well. The stress that is caused for rent is highly reduced. So we have like a persona we built for one of our power users. For example, a person who owns a small business, one of the busy Kampala streets. This business earns them daily income, but at the same time, they're also renting where they're staying. So they have stress from work, they have stress from home because they can't maintain to get a lump sum out of their business and pay rent at once. So this is a show of what our platform looks like. Shows someone their rent amount, shows them their schedule, and shows them how they can make a payment slowly, and they can make it either using mobile money and other payment methods that will be available to them. The market opportunity is huge because over 400 million people in African cities are renters. And this market is estimated to be over 100 billion annually. Now, I'm using over because getting the exact figures of this getting data in Africa is not that easy. So these are rough estimates that have come out of different research papers. We've already built our MVP, and it's already available on the Play Store and the Google app. And we're onboarding landlords. We already have over 13 landlords, number of tenants. And we launched 2 months ago. So 2 months running, and we are about $600 in monthly recurring revenue. how we are different from our competitors is because we are looking at a comprehensive solution that targets both the renters and landlords. There are few competitors in the market, but the majority of them, you find they are focused on one side of the problem. They're either focused on making sure landlords get their money on time, and then they are stressing the tenants even more. So for us, we provide a comprehensive solution for both. Then we provide other financial features, which essentially makes us a fintech, even if we are in the property technology sector. And we have a simple way to really reach these people. One is we want to make sure that we work with brokers or independent agents, which are the majority of the people. How most people access a place to rent is through brokers. So we don't want to be a competitor to brokers, but we want to provide them a win-win situation whereby we at least share a bit in our revenues and then tap in their large landlord dashboard. But we also want to cultivate partnerships like banks and other financial institutions to make sure that we are running smoothly, and of course use direct marketing methods. Our business model is simple. We charge a percentage on the rent that we collect. So this percentage charges range from 3 to 7% according to the volumes, according to many other factors. But also, like I mentioned, people can access rent financing or rent top-ups. So we also charge some interest on those micro top-ups that we issue out. Later on, as the platform develops, we want to create a kind of marketplace where someone can find anything that is regarding renting to make their lives easier. And we believe we can make a commission from different services that we'll be able to provide at that later stage. And have simple projections whereby we believe that we can reach over 10 million different tenants all over Africa in the next 5 years. And in the first year, we target to reach about 10,000 users. And that's why we are looking for funding. If we can get $150,000 US, we can be able to develop our product to be able to cater for this growth, 10,000 users. We can be able to develop our team to be stronger than it is right now. And we can also be compliant with different regulatory needs. Our team, we are now 8 people on the team, but the leaders are just me and Alan. We both come from a startup scene whereby before this we were leading a fintech and crypto startup called Binusu. But personally, myself, I've been in the real estate space whereby I was running a construction company called Tick Builders. So I've experience in the space, dealing with landlords, dealing with construction needs, dealing with tenants needs, all that for over 8 years now. And we believe we can be able to do this if we get support from different mentors and different investors. We can be able to make renting affordable and facilitate decent housing in Africa. Thank you very much.
Wonderful presentation, Brian. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And you were pretty good at time tracking as well. So that's already a bravo from me. Now I hand over to Ayush to start off the session.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for pitching, Brian. I have a couple of points that I want to just share with you. So one, you spoke about the team towards the end, and you kind of covered, why you and your co-founder are, or your experiences rather, but it wasn't very clear to me why you guys are the right team to solve this problem. So potentially consider putting a little bit more emphasis there and talking a bit more about specifically like why you guys are the right people to address this and how you have that domain expertise. The second thing is similar to the feedback I gave earlier. So where's the proof that this is a problem, right? So I think at like surface level, it sounds good. Okay, people aren't able to pay your rent. You help them make up the difference by giving them short-term loans and doing that. But is this what landlords want? Are tenants okay with this? What kind of proof do you have that this is actually a painful problem within the community? And then the third point of feedback is distribution channels. So how will you get more customers Have you tested some channels and gotten positive returns with those distribution channels? I think just those three things are what I feel is missing from this pitch, and hearing those things would give me much more confidence as an investor.
Wonderful. And Doug, over to you.
Okay, Brian, thank you for the pitch. It was pretty interesting. I saw your pitch deck beforehand, so I had some idea of it. I think you've on the surface you've outlined something which is existing in the current economy in Uganda. You know, people aren't earning a regular income, but rent needs to be paid regularly. So you've outlined that. The point is, what happens in building a more deeper problem? When people default, what happens, right? If this situation exists, but people are still renting, how are they getting over it? Or they're not getting over it. It really is a massive problem, right? So you've got the foundations of telling a really good story here. I didn't hear it. I think Ayush is aligned to the same thing. We didn't hear what the problem was. You said one thing doesn't align with the other, and it's like, but people are still renting. So what's the problem? Okay, and then when they default, there's this issue. But if you solve the default problem, like you said, never again, okay, from the landlord's perspective, how does this make life better for somebody? Does it make the life for the landlord really good? But boy, for the renter, he's now paying an interest which he wasn't paying before. Does that cause a bigger problem? Okay, when you said the 3 to 7% fees, have you just shifted the problem and you've solved it for the landlord, but have you created something more for the renter? I didn't understand. Maybe you have, but it didn't come out in your pitch. Okay, so that would be something. And then with this top-ups, right? Sometimes they haven't made enough. So you're offering a top-up and you're going to charge them for it. But again, whose problem is that? Again, it is adding more woes to the renter. I'd like to understand. And then you know, from your financials, you had a slide on revenue, which is great. As an investor, I'd like to see a slide that's got your expenses on there so I can see a potential break-even point sometime in the future. Lots of people we make really good revenue and you're not profitable. Well, guess what? I'm not investing in an unprofitable company. So prove to me that you're going to make some profit. So include an expense line in your revenue, in your financial issues on there. Okay. So, but look, these are the things. What are the costs? And you know, from you as a startup, put it on there. Because look, I'm an investor. I want to know that you've got a big problem, you've got a good team who can actually make this happen, and that I've got a chance of making my money back. Oh yeah, your $150,000 ask. You had a few areas about what it is, but you didn't give me a sense of I need more in this area, more in that area, and also just in your presentation, just say that this will give me this kind of runway. I want to know that if I'm going to invest 150,000, that you will have enough runway, that you've asked for enough money, that you're not going to run out at some stage. Because when you run out of money, you're dead, so am I. So I'd rather that you ask for a bit more, that there's a chance of survivability here. So tell me also a little bit about your runway. When you're pitching next time, kind of build all these things in so that as an investor, you've answered the questions before I can ask them.
Thank you very much, Doug. Very great advice. I had that story. I don't know why I forgot to mention it earlier, but now it's noted. The story would have brought all this.
Before, look, it's a common thing I hear. All that means is you just need to practice till it becomes a normal conversation, right?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Brian, for your thoughts on Doug's feedback as well. Over to Nick.
Hey, Brian, thanks for pitching. First of all, I want to admit that's a wonderful job in terms of sharpness of the pitch deck. It's not annoying, it's just sharp, and I like it. It's always hard to be the last one who given a feedback because everybody upsets. Doug did a great job with the feedback. But so in additional, I want to say that at the beginning you made this, pretty solid statement that let's make rent affordable. In my point of view, affordable means how much I pay and how can I afford it, right? So I thought at the beginning that your client is a guy who's trying to rent something, not a landlord. And then I see that how you're gonna wreck me faster by 3 or 7% to be wrecked, because you charge me, not a landlord. And I don't understand how it works. And then I figured out that your client is landlord, and it stopped giving me any sense. And then you're pitching the figures, like 150K, and probably you mentioned that it was convertible note or safe. Given that it's not an equity round, I would like to see at least some stuff like discount price or when it will be converted into the shares, real shares, and what is the runway, right? And I just want to do the math, bro. I just want to do the math. So how much money you need and for what? So and what we'll do next? What is the exit strategy? Because I'm not really familiar with the rental market in Africa, and I want to understand what the exit. So for me as an investor. And first of all, I understand it's a low base effect because probably you mentioned that it's like $150 per month, but 3 to up to 7%, it's squillions for me. It's insane. But if $4, okay, it's pretty affordable. So to have this service, it's my more European deformation, but I think you're mostly trying to find money all over the world, right? And probably it's different measurements, and it's better to operate in that kind of stuff. Maybe like that.
So is it better to do like a comparison of what the competitors are charging, the way to bring out the fee so that it doesn't seem like it's high? Because in our market, actually, people charge over 10 to 15% for the service, for such a service. So 3% is much lower. So maybe
I think
to show what others are charging.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure, but me personally, I don't see this kind of stuff like, classic real estate agent as a competitors. I see it's a different type of service because, in my point of view, I think that you make a scoring of, guys who trying to rent or a landlord to reduce the churn rate, right? So it means that overall during the year, he will receive more money. So that's your client. That's where your money is, where your business money is. And in my opinion, you have to operate with this kind of money. So, comparison with like Knight Frank who charging you 200% for a fucking penthouse in the city center, it doesn't make any sense for me.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, a reminder here for founders that if there's any points in judges' feedback that you need more clarification, feel free to ask a question back to get more clarity on what the judges meant, right? Or you could also, after the event, stay in touch with the judges and seek further clarification after the event. So both ways are fine. And also, founders, we are here to provide a very supportive environment. So if there is kind of sort of on the negative side of the feedback, don't take it personally. We are all here to support you. The end goal is for you to have a better pitch in the next round when you face the real investors or in a competition environment. So the purpose of this event is really trying to be supportive and help your growth. All right, next, let's move on to our third presenter. This one is Mark Xing Yang Private Limited, the proud winner of the Global Tech for Sustainability Championship 2023. Mark Xing Yang provides a tech-based solution for sustainable and ESG compliant practices among micro, small, and medium enterprises in India, focusing on financial inclusion and empowerment of women and youth. Let's hear their story.
Thank you so very much. And first of all, a huge thanks for identifying and selecting us for this opportunity. So I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, thank you so much again. And first of all, I'm feeling really tempted to share my story because By background and initial experience, I'm a journalist. Incidentally, I got chances of working as a rural journalist. So for the first 5 years of my career, I worked very intensively at the rural areas. Then I shifted to development sector or the non-government organization sector. For the past 20 years, I have been working with the people at the community level and in most of the cases, marginalized and excluded areas. So in 2017, I came across a group of people and a group of youth whom we started working together and started working for the communities, working for the people to help them adapt technological initiatives. So this is what Magazine Young Private Limited is. We are registered as a limited private limited company in 2024, though our actual journey started in 2017. And here we are providing support to the communities to get the best possible and affordable technology solution. So we are an IT-based company, and our focus is that we rely on the youth from the marginalized areas, from the rural areas. We bring them along, we train them. And here I am saying that we have a team of seniors also, though we call Magazine youth-led company, but we have a team of seniors who actually mentor, guide the technology experts to develop audience-specific technology support. So our key areas of work as a company is to provide support, a solution in terms of solution that includes websites, that includes e-commerce solution, and then orienting and training youth from the rural areas to adopt the digital technology in their business. And our achievement during 23, we have trained quite a lot of people and 38 micro entrepreneurs. Micro entrepreneurs in India is considered those entrepreneurs whose working capital is less than 5 crore. So we worked with them and we worked very closely with micro and small and medium entrepreneurs, which is a population of about 63 million in India. So we realized that there are a key problems by these micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs, that they don't understand what is the sustainable and environment viable practices. ESG practices, I mean, we call it in India, environment, social, and governance. So there are some parameters that need to be qualified for getting better resources, for getting certificates, for getting finance for business. So this huge volume of 63 million people in India, I mean, majority of them, 1 out of 3 only know what is sustainability and how it can improve their business viability. So the challenge is that a huge majority of people, mostly from the areas of rural areas, who don't understand English as a language, because India is a country of 22 languages. So we can't expect an entrepreneur from a remote area to understand the guidelines for sustainability in 52 pages English document. So what we did, we developed an application-based solution called Nature Responsive Finance for Sustainability. And that is entirely focused on micro, medium, and small entrepreneurs who are actually working on entrepreneurship. And it's a huge ecosystem of 63 entrepreneurs only. And at the same time, service providers are there who provide services to the entrepreneurs. So in this application, what we are trying to do, we are trying to provide them 3 things. Number 1, awareness on sustainable practices. Number 2 is training on sustainable practices. And number 3 is the access or reference to the finance that helps these small entrepreneurs to become sustainable. So here there is a social media platform where they can communicate, because this networking is very, very important here. I mean, 95% of entrepreneurs in India, they are working in isolation. That's why there is no commonalities between them. And we provide them the training, both online as well as offline. And we are providing information, their clarification. There is a chatbot, Neha. Neha is a very commonly accepted name in India. So that provides immediate answer to this. So it's a creation of overall environment where the users who are basically from the micro entrepreneurs or medium entrepreneurs that can range up to 20 crore or maybe working capital. So unique value proposition is that it's specific. It caters to the specific need of the micro entrepreneur. It's in terms of language, in terms of the industries. If it is automobile industry, we will provide them information on automobile industry. It's connecting all stakeholders. It's connect government. It connects the micro entrepreneurs. It connects the service provider and finance providers like banks and microfinance institution. It actually respects the language and the way I need to understand. I don't understand a 50-page English document. I want to be in a bulleted points, maybe a few points. So we are providing that and we are accompanying them. It's not only provision of information, we are providing them online and offline training as per their requirement. And we are providing support through ChatGPT and helpline number. So the business canvas is that the partners are definitely the government is a partner because all the compliance rules and regulations are from there. What we are doing, we are collecting information from there and converting it into local language and easy to understand format. And our cost structure is actually including the technology structure, but technology solution is already done. And we are at the level of scaling. We are covering 3 states of India out of 28 states. So, and the people, we need HR definitely. It's a HR intensive activity and the promotion, reaching out to the community. This is really important. How we can reach out? We are reaching out across 2 levels. Number 1, we are covering the big entrepreneurs through their consortiums, through the government networks, and we are reaching out directly to the community. I mean, maybe automobile industry to understand their problem and conduct training for them. So this is actually there. And revenue structure, we have very clear 4 revenue streams. Number 1 is membership, because though it is a free thing, but there are some premium services in training, in hand-holding, and in provision of referral services. So that is there. And advertising. The social media section is a huge platform for advertising and the conversion from sellers. I mean, if someone gets finance from a specific bank, because that green finance section works as an aggregator where MSMEs can get loans and supports for doing sustainable business. Just to give you an idea, all the banks and Reserve Bank of India already made it a mandatory thing to keep a percentage of every financial institution as green finance to support the entrepreneurs to do sustainable activities. So our business model is based on
excuse me, Superior, excuse me, you have 1 minute left.
Okay,
yeah.
Done. Yeah, so there are this free-to-price model. So we have clear revenue streams, and user projection is that we want to reach out to 1 million people out of 63 million in the first year, and accordingly 15.7 million people. We do have our market research ready, and revenue projection, yeah, for the first 6 months we will provide some free services, but we would our projection says that in 16 to 18 months of time we will cover the we'll come to the break-even point. So I'm not getting into the immediate next steps. What we are actually doing, we are coordinating with the MSME structures, government, banks, everybody. We are bringing them in. The application is already there. And we are trying to scale it up. Currently, it's available in 2 languages, and we have to cover it in 5 languages. That can cover the entire MSME ecosystem in India. So we have to add 3 more languages. And the compounding impact is there. I mean, it caters to multiple SDGs, including financial inclusion, including technology inclusion, and overall development. So thank you so much for your attention. And for now, this is, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving this compelling presentation. All right, I will let Ayush to start off.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Supriyo, for the presentation. I have a couple of points of feedback. So one thing that wasn't clear to me is who your customers are, right? So because you listed a couple of things that you guys do, and it wasn't immediately apparent like where you're making money, right? So are you making money from the websites and applications that you build? Are you making or from like the the product that you've already built, the NRFS application? The second thing is, who's paying you? Is it the small businesses that are paying you? Is it the government that's paying you for kind of pushing the, SDGs? That wasn't very clear. The second thing is, if those entrepreneurs are paying you, do they care enough about ESG, right? What wasn't available or wasn't, again, clear to me was, why is this a problem worth paying for those entrepreneurs? The next thing is, you mentioned revenue projections and user growth, which is great. And you mentioned your break-even point, which is, again, very good as well. And the really interesting thing, I think you could have expanded on that, is, when you spoke about the 3 states that you're operating in, right? So what did that mean for you? How much revenue and profit did you get from your existing business so far? And, was that in line with your projections? Are you profitable at a unit level in those 3 states? How long till you become profitable there? That kind of stuff was missing. Like, what are the steps that you're going to be taking to get to that profitability? Yeah, I think those are kind of just like high level, the main thoughts I had listening to your pitch.
Wonderful. Okay, Doug, it's over to you.
Okay, hi Supriyo. Thank you for your pitch. Let me start. It came across as, and maybe once you said you were a journalist, it came across as something I would read in a magazine. It was a good story, but that's all it was. It had almost zero impact for me as an individual. And I'll tell you why. It came across as a social enterprise, but you had to think about ESG. I didn't know whether ESG was mandatory or nice to have in India. In Singapore, publicly listed companies must report their ESG actions and tasks, okay, in their annual reports. I didn't understand that from you with these micropreneurs and stuff like that. Why is the government making such a big deal for these guys? They're struggling enough as it is. So I didn't hear that. You had a problem slide. Everything you talked about wasn't on the slide. Everything that was important on the figures and stuff like that wasn't on the slide. So when I first read your deck, I thought you didn't have a problem slide. Then when you started talking, you had some great stuff. You had a lot of figures and stuff. That should be on your slide. So you didn't have that. And the team, get rid of that team picture, right? That is not the team. Maybe it is the team, but I didn't know who they were, okay? I didn't know what was their claim to fame. I didn't even know, why are any of these people going to make this dream come true? Okay, it was just a picture, really nice. And if you're doing a presentation, you might flick that up. But to an investor, actually means zero to me. I had added zero. So at least pick a few and what's their claim to fame that going to make this happen, right? You had a business canvas in there. I don't recommend you put that in your pitch deck. That's your internal pirate's map of your business on one page. But for an investor, I spent too much time trying to understand, did you get this right or not? And going down the wrong path from an investor presentation. I don't know what free to price was. I didn't know whether that was a new term or was a term that exists in India. But then I realized it was freemium. So I suggest freemium is something that's more commonly used. That may help. But if it's common in India, then disregard my comment. Then you had some good revenue slides on there, except that it's going to ask me to ask the most obvious question: what magic dust did you sprinkle to make year 3 happen compared to year 2? It's such a significant boost that you didn't tell me why you're going to have this, right? If you had said in year 3, our revenues are up because these things are happening, make a lot of sense. Without that background, it caused doubt in my mind. And your last slide, again, I say to everybody, make sure there's a call to action. Come with us on this journey of making life easier for people out in the rural areas or whatever it is. But you just had a thank you. So it's just style, but you want a powerful important message that you guys are fixing this, which is a huge problem. And I want you, Mr. Investor, to come with me on this journey. Okay. Look, the criticism was about really the slide deck. It wasn't about your cause and stuff. Your cause is great, and the way you spoke told me all the story, but it just didn't come out on the slides.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doug. All right, Nick, it's your turn.
Hi, Supril. Thank you very much for pitching. It was really awesome to hear. And given that, I just want to say, Doug, that you nailed the feedback. It's huge respect for you for that. That was really great. And given that kind of the role of the bad guy is already accidentally occupied, I'll try to give a different type of feedback. Okay, super. First of all, I really do respect this kind of inclusion, and you are guys doing a great job with that, you know, with that kind of stuff. You pitched well as a journalist, which is obvious for me, but I didn't get enough information about the technology. You mentioned that chatbot, you mentioned that it's kind of ChatGPT-ish stuff, but I didn't figure out how you combined all these technologies in one piece of magic dust that improves our revenues like by 10 times per year. Everything else was pretty clear for me, and I think it's all. I think we need to work with information about technologies, like I've previously mentioned, and how it works, who is the client. And of course, obviously, I won't make fun about revenue slide. I just wanted to have more information. How come? Because it's really magic dust. It's precise term for that kind of stuff. Everything else is great for me, but wanted to have some information more about the runway, how much money you're looking for, what for, that kind of strategy. So I think that's all for now. Thank you anyways for what you guys do, because it's great in general.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, all the judges. If you allow me, I can also chip in my 2 cents here. Really, there were 2 things that came to my mind as well. I think number 1 is probably you got to differentiate who your audience is, right? If you are raising funds, are you pitching to kind of public sector, government, or are you pitching to private investor? Because a private investor is often return-minded. Of course, you are making a very positive social impact there, but when you are talking to like private return-minded investors, they obviously going to look at your economics, right? So, but overall, I think this is a really, really remarkable story that you are building. You are contributing to the social and economic growth of India as a society. But I think what you are lacking probably is more your narrative towards investors, especially on the return side. And second thing, I think maybe some of the slides came across as a little bit wordy. I think you are a journalist. That's a really great advantage. People really love the way how you present. But when your slides are too wordy, maybe it kind of distracts people, because the audience have to read the slides at the same time and listen to a story. That might be a little bit distracting. Otherwise, I think this is a really, really remarkable story that you told us. Thank you so much, Supril.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Coming up 4th, we have WonderX, an award-winning health tech startup. They are digitizing Indians' handwritten healthcare prescriptions and creating a comprehensive data and demand exchange platform to enhance the country's healthcare delivery system. Please welcome WonderX.
Hi, Kyle. Thank you. And hello, everyone. My name is Pankaj Sidhu. Very quick introduction about myself. Been into healthcare domain for the last 20 years at different CXO roles, mostly in the technology part. My co-founder is again another 20 years in pharmaceutical world as the sales head. We two are the co-founders over here. We have done 2 startups together earlier. built them, scaled them, and sold to Dabur. Dabur is a big conglomerate, and another London one. This is the third startup which I'm working on, which is OneRx. Now, quickly, the problem statement is in India and many other developing economies, there are doctors who are handwriting a prescription, and this love for handwriting doesn't go away. So what do we do? Do we really change their behavior and force them to type, which is not what they like, or do we build something on the paper? So we said, let's bring the whole product on the paper so that the user behavior is not changed. And even if we bring it on the piece of paper, will it be really viable to run as a business? And then we did a little bit of research. Look, if we look at EMR across the globe, Cerner was bought over by Oracle for almost $28 billion. Flatiron, which had 2.2 million patient records, was bought over by Roche for almost $1.9 billion. So, the whole thing was there are so many prescriptions being handwritten. How do we solve that? So I'll just take you through the product introduction. This is a piece of paper. What is there? This is the ball pen, what I'm having right now over here. I'll just quickly share my screen so that you guys can see what I'm showing. I hope my screen is visible. Now, this is a device which I've just mapped it over here. I'm going to show you very quickly. A moment I touch this piece of paper, it comes live. Right, I can note down the mobile number from here, right, so that I can do a lot of symptoms tracking, etc. over here. If I made a mistake, I can change it. What we have done is on the paper, we have created something contextual educational videos. What you see over here, I can simply touch it as a doctor. If I have to explain something, I'll be able to easily run it from here. Another video. If I want to share it, the smaller boxes, it'll go to the patient over WhatsApp. If there are, let's say, medicines which I'm writing on a piece of paper, normally people forget, I can just simply record it from here. I touch this, whatever I'm speaking now is getting recorded. I can tell him in any local language, and this voice file is going to go to the patient and he can hear it back. We've built in unique feature like camera over here. The moment I touch this, I can get the entire MRI, X-ray, or wound, burns, etc. tagged over here. And then we have the entire ecosystem mapped over here. If I want to refer him to a particular doctor, I can simply do this. I want him to come back after 30 days, 29th day, he will get a reminder. So this is very precisely the product. The paper is done. This prescription, patient walks away, no change of behavior at all. And a lot of details are available at the patient end, at the doctor end. And this entire handwritten prescription also goes through a digital copy. And every paper is unique. If I touch this one, another paper will come up. So that's quickly a bit on the product side. Very quickly, we are the national startup winners for India for the last year. This is one of a very prestigious stuff. What we are building is a complete integrated healthcare exchange. The data on a piece of paper is heavily valuable for a pharmaceutical company, for an insurance company, and a lot more people. Today, this is an impossible data for all developing economies because everything is on a piece of paper. We are grabbing that stuff and trying to build a business out of it. If I compare the other industries, everybody is thriving on data. If you look at healthcare, nobody has that. That's where OneRx is poised to bring this in. We're targeting almost $81 billion market. Of that, in our conservative planning, if you're able to do 1.8% of market share, we do a revenue of $40 million. And on a 8% market share grab, on a good case basis, we'll be doing somewhere around $260 million. We're raising around $6 million. 3 of them is in the first tranche. It'll take us to next year. It'll take us to a growth of almost 90,000 doctors in India. We'll be controlling almost 500 million of prescriptions being written in this particular country. We'll be having almost 102,000 other service providers who serve the patient because we control the data, we control the demand on that. There's a quick team. We've already raised $2 million earlier in our seed round. This is a quick landscape, 1.4 billion patients, almost 1.3 million doctors, more than 4 billion prescriptions being written, and every paper is generating tremendous amount of data and demand. We want to capture the data and derive multiple currencies out of it. Our revenue model is poised on SaaS model, and I'll come to that quickly. These are the 3 integrated product suite. Consumer gets entire handwritten data onto this. It's transcribed through AI. There is a fulfillment ecosystem app for the provider, connecting the patient with the pharmacy, pathology, and all, and the doctor one, which I just showed you. It's a very win-win model for everyone. Nobody, loses anything. Doctors, whether it's patients, the fulfillment ecosystem providers like pharmacy, pathology, or the pharma guys. I'll skip a few. We are on the competition side. Even if I compare myself with the typing guys, we are very natural. It's very fast. Doctors love it. And even if I look at the economics, we are far better than the competition in terms of capital efficiency. Just to give an example, HealthPlex has raised almost $45 million. They are at almost 10,000 doctors. We have already crossed 3,600 doctors with a raise of only $2 million so far. We already have, and I'll come to that. So these are the two revenue models which we have already enabled. One is the SaaS one, wherein doctor pays for the product. All 3,600 doctors are paying for the product. And the second currency which we're deriving out of the product is because we aggregate a lot of demand. When I say demand, you will be referred some physiotherapist, dietitian, pathology, and all. In current scenario, you will take a piece of paper, do a footfall to them, then only they get the business. We do this entire demand to supply connect digitally with our stuff, and we charge a flat fee from every provider for giving it. The app remains free for the patient throughout the life. Our scale, we have done 3.3 million prescription digitization already. We are in 358 cities, 2.5 million patients, highest average revenue per doctor, user retention, and the lowest customer acquisition cost. This has been our growth in the last 2 years. We cumulatively have done 3.5 million prescriptions. This year, we are going to be targeting more than almost around 5 million prescriptions on the run rate. The environment in India is changing. National Medical Commission is now mandating everybody to digitize. And if doctor is given a choice between writing and typing, I'm sure they'll go for writing-based stuff. I'll skip a few slides. The other two currencies or the revenue streams are ads, because my platform gets used with the doctors. Pharma wants to reach out to them. Insurance wants to reach out to them. So we'll be opening up this revenue stream next year. And then last but not the least is the data analytics. Humongous value on the data analytics from a clinical, from a marketing or a research perspective. I'll skip a few slides. This is what we are looking at on a projection side. We're targeting around $1 million of revenue this year. Next year, it's going to be around $2 million. And in the fourth year from the current date, we are targeting around $39 million, which is 1.74% of the market share as of now. This is a very conservative plan we've built. However, as I said, on a good case, internally, we are targeting around 8%, which is going to take us to almost 260. On the EBITDA side, earning before income tax, depreciation, etc., we will be generating a net cash flow of almost around $16 million. And the raise remains 3 million now and 3 million after 2 years. So that's on the revenue side. Quick, as I said, in terms of do we really get acquired at some point of time? Yes, there are different categories like, large EMR players, Epic, Cerner, Oracle. If they want to enter developing economies, they'll need a product from handwriting to text. The guys who are looking at all demand to supply, like Amazon, in India, it's Tata, NetMeds, Reliance, Walmart, and all, they would love it because we aggregate the largest demand already in the country. And then the third is the pharmaceutical companies, all of them who would love the entire clinical data. So, and there are a lot of precedents in all three categories. As I said, this guy, Flatiron in US, 2.2 million records, was acquired for almost $1.9 billion. And last but not the least is the potential IPO that we have. These are a few, doctors using our product across the country. This is a quick national startup pick which we had. So that's it. Thank you, everyone, for the time. That's the product and the pitch.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. That was very impressive traction I've seen. Okay, I'm very curious about how the judges are thinking about this now.
Thank you, Pankaj, again for the pitch. I think overall it sounds really, really solid, especially like the introduction of the team when you started. So I think that was very important. It immediately addressed kind of the most important concerns that personally and I think a lot of investors would have about the company and the product. Overall, I don't have too much feedback. I thought it was a really good pitch. I'm gonna nitpick a little bit, but one thing that I would have loved to see is again on the distribution channel, right? So how are you going to get more doctors and customers on board? Are there channels that you've tested that work well for you and that you're going to go after with the money? And then the second thing is you have really solid traction already with the number of doctors, especially like with the product that you have currently. But I feel like your kind of main focus down the line would be the data analytics, and that's where you're going to get most of your value from. Do you have like any brands that have expressed interest in purchasing this data? So maybe a little bit of indication on that front would have been great. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Overall, I thought it was a very solid pitch.
Ayush, I have a question for you. Put yourself into the shoes of an investor. Would you carry on a follow-up meeting with Pankaj in this case?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Wonderful to hear. Perfect. Okay, now over to Doug.
Hi, Pankaj. Thank you for the pitch. That was really interesting, really useful. Congratulations on many fronts, right? I think you had a really wonderful tech. You really captured the fact that people rather write than type, so your text developed around that. So I think that's a huge tick. Also from a commercial perspective, amazing traction. And there's only thing is up. The ask was great. You told me the use of funds, and you told me your runway, a really great team behind you. So lots of really, really good ticks from my perspective. So congratulations. Some small things, again, like what you said, nitpicking. You started off, I mean, let's put things in context. This is you to pitch to us, and we're expecting to see a slide deck. And you started off with this sort of story, and it could have waffled on. I mean, it didn't, but just stick with the slides. That's the weapon of choice here. So I think just stick with that. Stick with the script. I think that'll be good. You gave a demo, which was kind of long, but useful. Okay, so I like that I could actually see, wow, like you actually wrote on a piece of paper. That was cool, but that was enough on that front. The one thing I didn't like was when you said, let's skip a few slides. I'm an investor, and I'm thinking, what the heck did he skip? What doesn't he want to tell me? Okay, so
Pressure of time, yeah.
If you're gonna skip them, just skip them. Don't say anything. All right, because I was curious, and I'm going, come on, I want to see it. But look, I think this is fabulous. I can only say congratulations.
Thank you.
It's great to have investors that are very curious, have huge interest on your skipped slides. Actually, it's already a good sign that you are a huge kind of compelling case for them.
Carol, your time pressure of 5 minutes.
A lot of great content in there. Yeah, it's indeed difficult to pack everything into those 5 minutes. Absolutely. True. All right, let's hear about what you think, Nick.
Right, guys. First of all, congrats with what you guys do, and you did it well. In the pitching, and I think it was a really smart move to start from your professional background and your partners. And when you mentioned that you already have 2 exits, if I'm right, from previous startups, you nailed it one for me. So, and given if I don't understand what you are talking about, your technology, etc., you already have, all of my view to hear you. The presentation with a piece of paper was really great. I enjoyed that one, so it's cool. I didn't understand all the tech. I know we have all this digital pen stuff for years, and what is the difference and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably will be good for me to hear more about that. It's we have a specific piece of paper, and we do some AI and stuff to analyze and gather the big data based on all this piece of papers all over the India, etc. So it will be better for me for sure, because I can figure out the possible expansion of all the technologies all over the world in all the countries where doctors use paper instead of digital stuff. You mentioned that you already raised 2 rounds, like 3 mil plus 3 mil, and that's great. So congrats with that. So it means that you're, I haven't mentioned, I didn't figure out how much money you're looking for now. Maybe I just missed it. Sorry for
No,
that.
no, I'm
Maybe I
raising
missed that.
3 mil right now in this version.
Again,
And 3
what's
mil.
happened
No.
with
So
previous 2?
I raised 2 mil in the initial seed round. When I was developing the product, it took us 3 years to develop the product. There was a lot of research which went into it. We commercialized the product 2 years back. We will be breaking even on the first revenue stream, the SaaS one. Now to expand into the second and third one, we are raising 6 million, of that 3 now and 3 after 2 years. And that will take us to almost $40 million as a revenue.
Okay, so now it's clear for me, but probably I will have extremely more question after that on our possible second call, if I will be investor.
Sure.
Because it wasn't clear for me during the pitch. So I think it's all about my feedback. So you did a great job. I really hope you guys will take that part of the market you're wanted to take, and it's really conservative. It's less than 2%, probably. You said. It sounds like it could work for me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, all the judges, for your valuable feedback, and Pankaj as well. You are certainly one of the cases where I want to have a follow-up call with you if I were in the shoes of an investor. So congratulations again, and you definitely nailed it.
Thank you. Thanks, Carol.
Wonderful. Okay, last but certainly not least, we have Tranquil Life. Tranquil Life is a platform designed to enhance mental well-being by connecting individuals with therapists and providing tools for guidance, aiming to make mental health support accessible and judgmental-free. Let's welcome Tranquil Life.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ayomide Ajayi. I'm a software developer with many years of experience in building applications. I'm also a mental health advocate. Did you know that in Nigeria, over 70% of employees experience significant mental health related issues, and the need for quality accessible therapy has never been more urgent. Today, meet a game changer. It's like a caring companion through life challenges, just like someone in a ride or making a reservation, but for your well-being. Mental health crises are on an upward spiral. It's really a problem here in Nigeria, and a lot of people are looking for a solution, but that basically fits into their busy lives. With how serious the mental health challenges are in Nigeria, yet quality therapy is still limited and still stigmatized. This is where Tranquil Life comes in, an application with features tailored towards ensuring a positive mental health for you and I. Our platform is accessible, eliminates the stigma, the feelings, or let's say the stigma associated with mental health. It creates a healthy work environment for your organization. It helps students flourish in the academics, and guaranteed privacy, and our services are affordable. Tranquil Life comes with numerous amazing features, with therapy being our primary focus. Users can have therapy sessions with either human or AI therapists. For the human therapists, you can speak with professionals from any place in the world, all from the convenience of your home. So therefore, time zone is never going to be a barrier. A Tranquil Life session can take up to 3 participants. Couples therapy, for example, or just 2 participants. And a session, we have multiple notification avenues: email, push notifications, and SMS. We'll be leveraging artificial intelligence for AI therapy, personalized recommendations, and assistive diagnosis. This is also another amazing reason for you to invest in Tranquil Life. Africa has a vast market with 1.5 billion people and a current GDP of $8.6 trillion. Nigeria, with a population of 229 million people and a current GDP of $1.1 trillion. Now, these figures highlight the immense potential for Tranquil Life. Targeting a significant portion of these populations to provide accessible, affordable mental health services. Now, our business model makes use of two revenue streams: a premium membership subscription and a pay-per session type of stream, which is a pay-as-you-go for human therapy. The prices vary for the pay-as-you-go session, as for the pay-as-you-go stream, and then same for the premium membership. Now, our milestones demonstrate our strategic growth trajectory. By May 2025, we'll launch our web application with 10,000 active paying users. By 2026 November, I believe TranquilLife will be the leading mental health service provider in Nigeria. And we don't really have much competition in Nigeria. There's really no major competition in Nigeria. So yeah, I believe by then we should be the leading mental health service provider in Nigeria, considering the number of amazing features we are bringing in to help mental health. And by 2027, we should have about 200 enrolled businesses across Africa, with focusing on key countries: Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, and South Africa, among others. Now, our competitive analysis shows TranquilLife stands out in key areas. Our competitors lack in several of these areas and are not as comprehensive, making us unique and robust in the market. From artificial intelligence usage, affordability, ability to discover mental health events and forums, data safety, a therapist peer-to-peer support, personalized treatment, and an amazing post-therapy follow-up. Now, we ask for $300,000 in pre-seed for 5% equity stake, and the funds will be allocated as follows: 43% for personnel, 33% will go to marketing and sales, 11% in product development, and 13% in operating expenses. This is the amazing team working together to ensure our platform achieves its goal, which is to ensure a stable mental health for everyone in Nigeria and the whole of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ayomid, for sharing your story with us. Okay, let's hear about what the judge think on this case.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you, first of all, for sharing your story and for pitching. Again, couple of points of feedback. You explained your background in tech, and as the technical co-founder and as a CEO, that part of it was clear. But the team's expertise in this space wasn't very apparent, at least from the pitch. So who has the domain expertise in mental health? Who has the domain expertise in distribution, getting you in front of the customers that are going to be, paying for this? That needs to be visible in your slide and in your presentation. You said you're charging about $16 per session in for the therapy session. I think it was 25,000, in the local currency. So how much of that money do you make versus therapists? So how much are you guys as a business making? Overall, like Carol mentioned, as an investor, I'm very return oriented, right? So that aspect wasn't very clear throughout the pitch. I don't know how much money this business makes. I don't know what steps you're going to have to take to get to profitability. I don't know how much return I'll get if I put any money in. So that part was missing. On a related note, you said you're aiming for 10,000 active users by the time you launch. How are you getting those? What's the magic dust? As was mentioned in the previous feedback sessions. But yeah, overall, that's kind of my feedback. I think the biggest thing is the return orientation, just being clear about how am I going to get money back from investing in this business.
Okay. Yeah, so as regards to the product, how much we've earned, the product hasn't been released yet, which is why we are requesting for this amount for the pre-seed fund. Our iOS application is currently undergoing testing, but I've spoken with multiple therapists that we are going to bring on board the moment we release the MVP for the therapist application. For the health sector, I actually have a very reputable individual in the health sector who is also connected in the NHS sector in the UK. So he's going to help with connecting us to multiple, because one of our target industries is the healthcare sector, being the third industry in Nigeria in which employees complain the most about mental health related challenges, including burnout and the rest. So due to his we're going to use his connections to get multiple businesses in the healthcare sector to enroll their employees on our platform. Yes. And the entertainment sector is also another industry in Nigeria where they are doing well financially, but they're struggling with a lot of mental health related issues. And I also know a few reputable individuals in the entertainment sector as well, content creators and the rest. So I'm currently speaking with one called Frank Iton. You can check him out, Frank Iton. He's willing to help connect us with actors, entertainment guides that can help in putting their artists and actors on our platform and recommending Tranquil Life to them for mental health support. Yeah, so our services, our costs basically match what the average, like this, for the local clients, we made it 25 to 80,000 because this is what we believe people can pay considering the average salary and in our target industries. And this for a 45-minute session. And then for the foreign clients, just to make this affordable compared to our competitors like BetterHelp, a platform in which not many Nigerians can easily afford. We're making ours 25 to 80,000, and for foreign clients, $35 to $100 per 45-minute session. Yes, I don't know if that answered your questions. But our product has not been launched yet. This is why we need this funding to help facilitate the development so we can, but it's currently on iOS. You can check it out, the beta, and it's undergoing testing with some, we're making some minor improvements and then we'll release the product. There was also something I didn't state in the competitive, in the strategic competitive overview. We also have another amazing feature, which none of these therapy applications are worldwide. Like none in the whole of the world. We've done our research from BetterHelp, WeLink, and Google Talks, none of them, which is a therapist educational advancement feature. So basically, our therapist application comes with a feature where therapists can advance their mental health education, courses, and the rest. This can also be another way of generating revenue for Tranquil Life. We can also generate revenue from mental health events and forum discovery. Because I was in the UK last year, ending of last year, where I was kind of trying to understand the mental health space from an international view. So I went to the UK and I participated in multiple mental health programs and forums, and I realized that there are so many mental health programs and organizations they're looking to be known worldwide, but they don't have a platform where they can register or put themselves so a large number of users can view or participate in their forums either virtually or physically. So I realized that Tranquil Life can also be a directory for most of these global mental health programs. Another revenue stream. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I just to give a little bit more context. Those are great points. My feedback was more along the lines of that should be, especially that part about domain expertise and how you have an advisor that's affiliated with the NHS. Like those things add a lot of credibility, and that should be on your slide deck, and that should be ideally front and center to showcase to investors that you guys actually know what you're talking about. But cool. Yeah, thank you again for the pitch.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. Amiri, thank you for the presentation. I was particularly interested in this one because I do spend a lot of time with people in mental health and wellness. It's pretty much mainstream in most part of the Western world. I deal with a lot of founders who do this in Southeast Asia, in North America. in Europe. So it's a great start, and it's mainstream. And I don't know how mainstream it is in Africa, but it's in corporate policy. You get days off, you get access to therapists and counseling and stuff. So there's no more stigma as far as mental wellness is concerned. It's, you know, it's on the news. Actors are talking about that kind of stuff. So you're in the right space as far as getting people to look at what you have. You had some great stats on your problem slide. But my question was, just go a little bit deeper, like so what? What's the consequence? What are the impact? Is the GDP of Nigeria fallen in the last couple of years because of this or not, right? So it's good to have stats, but try to follow with some kind of consequence. It has a much bigger impact because it's your second slide, and I really need to see what this is going on about. Your business model, just a small thing, or a couple of things. Firstly, what have you done to show me that people are willing to pay this money, right? So did you test the market? And just for an aesthetics perspective, try to keep the currencies consistent. I'm trying to work out what is the N25,000 compared to $35. I have no clue. But I didn't go and use my XC converter to try and so just so that I don't have this drifting away thought, just make it consistent. It would be pretty useful. You talked about 229 million Nigerians. And then you talked about your 3-year growth plan of having 70,000 paying users, right? You know what? That doesn't excite me one bit. It's like, is that it? Right? I mean, you've got this enormous market. You've got half of those people are suffering some kind of depression, and you're only going for 70,000. Like, come on, buddy. Like, shake up. Start thinking big. I would, if I'm backing you, I'm going to say, get out there, be the thought leader, and think some bigger numbers out here. Make it really exciting. You got to be the savior for Nigerian mental wellness. Okay, that's what, because it just looked like a nice little hobby. Otherwise, I mean, I'm not saying it's a hobby, but make it exciting for the investor. Also, your competitor slide. Do you really compete with competitors from the UK and the US? Or is it the ones from Kenya and the other African ones, right? So there's some relevancy is what I'm looking for from a competitor slide. Good concept, good the way you had the ticks and the features. That's a good way to put to talk about competitors, but try to find some relevant competitors. And I'm sure, you know, this is a huge marketplace. There's hundreds of apps. Even ones that people know from every part of the world, things like Calm and things like that, everyone knows, right? So find some relevancy, and it could make that a bit more powerful on your side. Your funding, the runway is, you know, let's get something on there on that. But you had some nice things on funding. And finally, like it's something I see almost every day, is have your last slide is a pretty powerful slide. All right, it's a great topic. It's people understand this. You've got a huge ability. You've got an app out there. Tell people you're ready to go. You're not just a tech developer. You've got some really good meat behind you, a lot of strength behind you. You've got an app. You've got an enormous market you can go after. You really need some help you need the money on marketing, because people need to know who you are, and I think you're on your way. But overall, pretty good.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doug. Okay, over to Nick now. It's your turn.
Hi, Amit. Thank you very much for pitching. And so, my gosh, I have a lot to say, if you don't mind. First of all, I always like this kind of application that helps people. So thank you for doing that. You're starting your pitching with that you have many years of experience on development software. That's cool for you. I do respect that, but so what? If you said like, but like like last year, I spent all my life on R&D on all that mental issue stuff. That's enough for me, bro. So it doesn't mean that it's not rocket science to being a good developer and start thinking about a new field. Just please mention that you spent some time on this. It's enough for me. Maybe 3-4 months you've been doing the R&D on that kind of stuff. It's enough. After that, you said about market size. I haven't seen the market size there. I've seen the Africa size and Nigeria size, so but no market size. For me, market size could be the bench of applications who trying to do the same. And if we'll see this number, I mean the financial stuff, this market size, I will keep this in mind when you go to your business strategy. When I see the business strategy, I'm not sure it's really cool to try to compete with the worldwide and to be focused on Nigeria market only, because what for? So I don't think that mental illness, some kind of mental illness issues, that kind of stuff in Nigeria, some kind different from Germany. We're same people, and the market is not for me, is mental health. The market is the need of people to pay money for doctors. And if you will go in numbers this way, like our application give you like 90% discount compared to, not discount, 90% less price compared to, 1 hour of doctors. This is money. I don't care even $10 or $1,000, different from country to country. And it could be $10 in Nigeria for 1 hour, I don't know. And $1,000 in the US and California. So it doesn't mean that this market cannot be your market. It means that if your application can do the same job or almost the same job, this competitive one, with half price, it makes sense for me. I don't care about money this way. I care about the discount. And I think that's the main point that I want to mention, because if you'll be, presenting this way, will make a lot of sense for me, a lot more sense for me. And if your team are based in Nigeria, why don't you move this kind of stuff in your advantages? Because of course, to do the same job in the US will cost 10 times more. So you guys are better because you're same developers. Your direct costs are, extremely less than the US and other competitors' countries. Why don't you say that? Because we can do the same tech, the same application, 7 times less in spendings than in the US our competitors does. Why not to mention that kind of stuff? It's cool. It's your competitive advantage. I think this my feedback about this stuff. Everything else is great. So you're doing a good job.
Thank you very much. I just want to say something regarding the research and development. So Tranquil Life, during the process of my software development, I've also been, I struggled with mental health related issues kind of many years ago. And this was still before I went into tech. And so during my journey of trying to help myself through my depression and the rest, I met a lot of people and I realized that the mental health issues were in my surroundings were just beyond me. Like, it's crazy. People are really going through a lot, not just me in the country and around me and everything. Because then I remember I was in university and I realized a lot of students were actually going through a lot of mental health related challenges. I even helped a student once from committing suicide. So now so basically I've been on this mental health journey for about 3 to 4 years, doing research and working on, I've developed Tranquil Life like about 3 times. 3 different, I remember I first created a mental health forum, something like Kura, but for mental health, which I released on Play Store in 2020 during the lockdown. And a lot of people registered, used the application, and I ensured that when you register, it hides your identity and just generates a username for you. So that way, and you can't upload a profile picture. So that way, people felt comfortable saying every single thing on their minds. So other users who had experienced the same issues started dropping comments as regards to how they were able to solve similar problems. And the comments with the most likes was probably the best solution to the problem whoever dropped that post was experiencing. This gave me a good understanding of the immense market in Nigeria. And this was in 2020. So I've actually been on this journey for a long time. Even I myself have once been deep in thoughts, like when I mean serious depression, you understand? So I understand this field very well, and I understand what the people are experiencing.
Thank you so much, Ayumit, for sharing your personal experience. It's always good for the founder to have a personal experience of going through the very same struggle they are trying to build solution on. So you are way more convincing. Your case is way more compelling. Yeah, actually, I have been to Nigeria myself. I have this firsthand feel of how the life there is like. My burning question here is that, is mental health problem kind of big enough or painful enough for Nigeria, right? Because given the relatively low kind of wage payment there, would people not kind of prioritize making their ends meet first over solving their mental health issue? If you are targeting, my question is, if you are targeting individual, you are charging individual for subscription fees, would they be willing to pay, and how much would they be willing to pay? You mentioned that the app you built before on Quora, but was that like a paid solution? People were paying for it, or they just use it for free? And if you're not targeting individual subscribers, you're targeting employers, like the companies who provide this service for free for their teams, then as Doug mentioned, in Western world, maybe it's part of the regulation. A lot of companies have to provide such kind of service. Is that the case for Nigeria as well? That's kind of related to the urgency of the need for your product in that market, right? Actually, Nigeria is very, very exciting. It's probably one of the most exciting market right now in Africa, given your biggest population, given you guys have probably the youngest population on the planet, and you have the fastest growing rate of your population on the planet. So those are all the assets. But I don't see you kind of highlight the potential of your market on your slides. And also, as mentioned before, is this problem really big enough for that market? Yeah, that's just my 2 cents here.
Okay, yeah. So the problem is massive for this market. And Nigeria, our employers, like generally in Nigeria, we have health insurance and the rest. I mean, when I was still working in the normal white collar 9 to 5, I had like a HMO. So it's normal. Yeah, we do all that health insurance and all that. But the thing is, mental health is not included in this insurance. Do you understand? So that's the problem now. So it's more going to a doctor. Oh, I'm having a headache, or maybe I have a fever. You understand? It's not really mental health. You get me? So it's the mental health, the psychological aspect of health is not being included in the plan because there are not so many mental health service providers here. You understand? It's not that they don't want it. They just don't have enough. They just don't have access to it. You understand? So if we can bring a platform like this with so many tools targeted towards mental wellness, believe me, a lot of people, I just got a call 2 days ago from a guy telling me that he saw Tranquil Life online, he saw the LinkedIn and all that. And then he asked when our protocols, he said he checked it out, he saw that it was just iOS. And yeah, he said, do I have therapists that he can currently talk to? That I said, and when will the product be launched? Do you understand? So this is basically someone who had been following the process, the promotion I've been doing on LinkedIn and the rest. And obviously he was just following because definitely people are watching. So he reached out and said he's still anticipating the launch of the product, that he really wants to use my platform and see a therapist. There are so many people going through so many issues they don't want to talk about, but they will use the app. Do you understand? They will not come out saying but they will actually use the application. You get me?
Very glad to hear you are going through the market validation process. Wonderful. And thank you for highlighting that aspect of everyday life in Nigeria market for us as well. All right, so that concludes our pitch presentation for today. And a heartfelt thank you to all our passionate founders for their presentation and to our judges for their invaluable feedback. Your insights today will surely help propel those startups on their path to success. As we wrap up, I encourage all participants to stay in touch and continue exploring potential collaborations. Remember, every piece of feedback is a step towards refinement and success. Thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to seeing how each of these startups evolves and succeeds in their respective fields. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and until next time, keep innovating and inspiring.